Knowing you is my biggest flex. So now,
Wow.
it looks like I don't have to worry about accomplishing anything else because I know you. So your album is called Unal, dream collaboration you would like
my
to
God, I
have.
would drop anything and everything.
Put that on camera. There were recent incidents that I saw on social media about the way artists get treated at events. On today's episode,
Oh my God, guys, it's me, Sahi, and I'm with Janani on a podcast. I'm so excited. Janani, how are you? How are you? How are you, Janani? Come on, Janani. Oh my God, guys, I'm so excited. Ah!
Sahi, thank you for being here.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
I'm honored to have you as my first guest.
I'm honored to be your first guest.
So before we start, I do have to say this story. So a few months ago, when we were in London, when my little cousins got to know that I know you,
Okay.
this was a comment that they said in their words. They said, the knowing you is my biggest flex. So now,
Wow. Thank
it
you to
looks
the
like
cousin.
I don't have to worry about accomplishing anything else because I know you.
It's okay. That's what can I say? I'll put it on. No, I'm kidding. Thank you to your cousin. That's a big compliment from coming from them.
Cousins.
Cousins.
Like a whole
Oh,
bunch of
okay.
them.
Fine.
They're
Thank
all
you to
fans
everyone.
of
Shout
you.
out to Janani's cousins. Thank you so much, guys.
But jokes aside, this brand that you've built and like this impact that you have like with our like the younger crowd now, like when I watch that and remember the journey that you've taken so far, like I want to be proud, but at the same time I should say like I'm inspired more than proud because the amount of work you put into it and the amount of effort, the amount of creative talents you bring on board, like hats off to you for that. So thank you for what you're doing, but I'd like to start off by asking what fuels this drive to create a brand for yourself?
I think the brand it's not really like an intentional creation. It kind of just comes with what you do, like, you know, the music that you create and the people that you work with. By association, you kind of create like a brand, but it's always just like, you know, you want to have an impact on society that's like positive and you're, you know, sending the right messages and stuff like that. So I think it's like comes without thinking too much about it. But yeah, the brand is kind of what allows people to resonate with you as well. You know, when they think of the name Sahi Siva, I want them to think, you know, pleasant things, you know.
But was this always something that you wanted to do? Like, let's take it back to like one of the first videos that I saw of you on YouTube, which is you with the guitar and Mega Male playing your, you know, doing like that. You did like a medley of songs. Did the Sahi back then also think of how, like, did you ever think that you would become who you
This
are
was
today?
never the plan. Like, music was never a career option. Like, I learned Sangeetam from the age of 5. I've been doing Middle from the age of 5, and I did Marangettam when I was 18, and it was always just like, you know, doing it because mum wanted me to do it. But it was never like, if you tell me at 18, like if you go back in time and tell 18-year-old Sahi, oh, you're going to become like a musician, and even a full-time musician as well, he would be like, yo, who are you? Like, he would be so confused, you know? Like, because I was on a track to become a mechanical engineer, graduate, work in that kind of field. But it was only really like during uni when I started to like perform at these shows and like kind of write my own songs chumma amongst my friends and show them, and then like by association, like, you know, meet MC Sai, Ratyat and stuff. That's when it kind of just became more and more of a reality. And then eventually it got to a point where music kind of took over my passion for engineering and that kind of lifestyle. So that's when, I think it was like 4 or 5 years ago, I kind of decided, okay, yo, like this is something important and I shouldn't, you know, miss out on this. So just try it and we'll see how it goes. And so far it's still good, you know.
Yeah, because I really wanted to go into that mindset because, like, so you graduated with a mechanical engineering degree.
So I actually managed to finish my master's thanks to COVID. Like, I had like online exams, you know, study from home kind of thing.
Yeah.
So because of that, I was able to finish that. But yeah, that was purely because my mom was like, you have to get a degree. So.
But it's also so easy, like, once you have those degrees to be like, okay, let me just find the corporate job, the 6-figure salary. Like, you know, it's like a very...
And I think one of the things that came out of me graduating was, because I graduated right in the middle of COVID, going full-time into music just didn't make any sense to me because as a musician, you need gigs for income and stuff like that, right? You need to be able to travel and stuff like that. But because of COVID, we weren't able to do that. So my plan was, you know what, until COVID dies down, get a job. And I actually ended up getting a job. You know, I was working at FinTech for a year. My parents were happy, mum was happy, you know, and like I was going into that corporate lifestyle and I was doing pretty decent. And that's when I was like, yo, if I keep going in this corporate lifestyle, I'll be stuck. And I'll never take the leap to do what I actually wanted to do, which is try and do music full time. So yeah, I'm glad I just, you know, packed my bags and decided one day, I was like, Amma, I'm going to quit. She said no, and I said yes, and then I quit.
Wow. Okay, so Coming to like even that whole conversation, what people see of you online is, okay, you quit your job and you started your music career and everything looked like it just fell into place, because that's what I think as well.
No.
Like where it's like,
That's
oh my
like-
God, the minute he
it's an
quit his
illusion.
job, it's like everything, you just started
Yeah.
getting gigs, you were traveling, everything happened. But I'm sure there are some days when you woke up and you're like, you don't know where your next paycheck's coming from.
Like, it's still the case, but I think more and more, it's like with growth, you kind of get some sort of financial stability as well. But like when I first quit, it was literally to the point where like every day I would wake up and be like, yo, what did I just do? Did I make the wrong decision? Did I mess up, kind of thing? And then that, not like depression as such, but then you go into this whole imposter syndrome. Am I actually really good enough to, do music full time? Is it just like a joke that I'm telling myself? And then you think, are my friends just gassing me up for the sake of it, because they're my friends, kind of thing? Or do they actually believe in you that you can actually do something different? And, for the first year, it was up and down. Every day I would contemplate it, But then I realized that I read this book, and in it said you should never have a backup plan, because if you know you have a backup plan, you will fall back into it naturally. So me thinking, I have a degree and I have experience, I can always go back into the corporate life. That was me telling myself, you have a safety net. But if you know that you have a safety net, you're never going to truly try and climb higher up the ladder with what you really want to do. So I told myself, you're never going back. And I really hope in 5 years' time I'm still doing music. But let's just say, once I told myself the decision, you made this decision, you have to stick through it and just see how it goes. That's when I started to stop doubting myself. And it's been going okay, yeah.
But so on those days when you feel low, is that what fuels your music too?
It kind of, some days when I'm feeling super low, I'm just I don't want to do anything. So I'll just what to say. But the other days I'll be like, let's try making a new song today. Let's prove to myself, can I do this? And I'll try writing a song, and that song will turn out to be good. That's how I'll be like, okay, cool. You quit your job for a reason, okay? Don't stop doubting yourself, and I'll keep going. And then I'll just reach out to my cousins or my sisters. I'll be like, yo, what am I doing, kind of thing. They'll be like, Anna, stop doubting yourself. Just keep going, okay? Stop. And it's having those people around you, it was a big plus for me, because my circle, it's been the same since I was the age of 16, and it's always the same thing from them. Even if I feel some days I don't believe in myself, they believe in me more than I do, So it's really
I want to get into another topic relating to the same thing. So when it comes to the fact that you can take your low days and then use it towards your music. As artists, we're blessed to have that, where it's you can take your negative emotions and fuel it into our art. But when it comes to men's mental health, that's something I'm very passionate about, because I feel like it's not talked about a lot. When it comes to especially male musicians or just anyone, what do you think? How can I word this? What would you say to people who are not an artist? What are some ways they can deal with those days when they feel low? Not only about their career, but just about themselves too.
I think the first step, how do I say it? There's this thing that I read, it's understanding that there's a problem is halfway to the solution, kind of thing, right? That's a huge mentality. If you're always in denial saying you're fine, you're fine, you're fine, when you're actually not fine, then you're not really going to get better, right? But then as soon as you acknowledge the fact that there is a problem, there are moments where you do feel low and there are things that are bothering you, you just have to accept the fact that those things exist. So that's step one. And I feel step two would be reaching out to, people of comfort, friends and family, and talking to people, whether it's guys or girls or whatever. You find out that when you talk to people, more time than less, they will probably have gone through similar stuff as well, but they never really had anyone to talk to as well. So then just trauma bonding almost kind of thing, that's kind of it's nice to know, okay, you're not in this alone kind of thing, right? I'm going through the same problems as the next person kind of thing. So that's that's one of the biggest things that's helped me kind of thing. I found even if it's music and a different creative field for my cousins, for example, there's similarities in both, right? You both have doubts and issues that apply in certain parallels, kind of thing. So talking to them has always been my first go-to kind of thing when it comes to these kind of things. And yeah, I would suggest the same to people in similar positions to me, or even people that don't do creative stuff, but men in general. Talking, I know it might seem guys can't talk, shouldn't talk kind of thing, but dude, I'm telling you, talking is one of the best things you could do to overcome these kind of things.
Because that's one of the conversations that we always have, where men don't they tend to bottle up their feelings. So as a musician, it's easy to take that feeling out and put it on paper, or put it into your music and take an instrument out. But when it's men who are in let's say the corporate world, or who are entrepreneurs, who are expected to always have that hustle mindset, and every day is a go day, that's when it gets really hard.
Yeah, and even like, okay, so I feel like I'm quite lucky because I have that circle of people to speak to, right? And there are some people that might not have close enough friends, but then you have systems in place now. You have stuff like therapy, you have stuff like, you know, counseling and stuff like that. And even recently, like I told my mom that I actually went to like therapy for like a few months as well, and she was like concerned because this happened 5 years ago, but I only told her 5 weeks ago. But she was like, you know, happy at that point. She was like, okay, I'm glad that you at least went on your own accord and sorted something out. So for anyone else out there, like it's okay to, you know, go to these things and sort yourself out, because you're, at the end of the day, your mental health is just as important as physical health and other stuff as well, right?
Speaking of like-minded people and having them around you, I've noticed that about you. It's like wherever you go, you tend to attract people who are like all in the creative field, and you form like this bond with everyone, and like everyone's just like, I would say that about myself and like people that I know. Like we'll drop what we want if you need something done, because you create that kind of bond with people. So how do you, like, what's something you would suggest to people, like artists who are looking to travel, but like they're not sure where to reach out to or like who to network with? Because for you, it's like, from what I've seen, it's like here or like Chennai, it was the same thing where it's like everywhere you went, you formed these really good connections with people.
You have to appreciate that everyone is like human at the end of the day, right? Regardless of what you do, kind of thing. And everyone, you know, likes to make new friends and new relationships and stuff like that. So that's like underlying human traits, right? And then with me, I feel like I've like engaged with people through social media and stuff like that, or people whose work I admire, right? And when I like engage with them and it's like positive engagement and stuff like that, you kind of make a friend through just by admiring their work and stuff like that, right? So I'm one of those people, like even when I like came to Canada for the first time, I was like, it was one of my like, it was very important to me that I kind of like network as much as possible just to see what kind of amazing people are here. Because I know about people back home in London for me, but like there's obviously, you know, more and more people here as well. So that's like my thing. Like, don't be afraid to take the first step to reach out to people that you want to reach out to, because, you know, 9 times out of 10 they will reciprocate. You know, like it's about the energy that you give. Don't be a creep at the same time, but just be natural. Don't be a creep. Yeah, don't be a creep. But just be nice and normal about it, and I'm sure, like, you know, people will reciprocate and you will, you know, make friendships out of it. You know.
Where's the boundary between like people who are like people with good intentions and knowing like opportunists who are like,
you would know, you would like, okay, you won't know because I've also been victim of that. That's a gamble. It's one of those things you might have to take the L on the first account, but then the second account you will start to pick up, okay, this person's only talking to me because they see a value, like a transactional value within you, and that's when you know, okay, cool. Like you have to appreciate, okay, cool, that they're reaching out because they admire your work, but then there's a difference between, you know, connecting and networking and just like using, right? There's a fine line, right? And you will hopefully sooner than later learn to pick up on that. And I think we both can, you know, go through for hours on ends of stories like that. But like you get better with it with time and time as well, you know. Like and these people that, like, for example, like a few of my close friends that are like, you know, working in the Tamil industry as well. We don't always talk about work, you know. Now we're at that point in life where we actually talk about life and like family and friend and like other things in life. It's not always just about transactional conversations as well. But those conversations do come up because, at the end of the day, we are both trying to grow, and like the industry is trying to grow as well.
And you connect through that.
Connect through that as well, right? And but it's also important, like once you made like solid foundation, like there's at the heart of it, there is a genuine, you know, compassion and friendship between those people that you interact with. So that's important. Be friends.
Yeah, be nice to people. You travel quite a bit. And 2023, you were traveling quite a lot, and it was exciting to see through your stories, but I was also jealous. What are some bucket list cities or countries you have in mind that you want to go to?
The thing with what I do is, like, I normally travel for shows. That's pretty much predominantly what I travel for. And I always tend to travel to the same places over and over again. That's what it is.
Me in London.
Yeah. It's like me. So it's either like UK, Canada, Switzerland, Paris, Germany, Denmark, like those kind of places, right? I'm trying to more and more like travel to places that you know, like I wouldn't be flown out to for a show kind of thing.
Okay.
And like last year, I think I did like a solo trip to Greece, which is pretty cool. The year before, I did like a solo weekend trip to New York. Even though there are Tamil people there, but I actually went for holiday purposes. And for me, it's like at least every year go to like 2 places where you're not going for anything to do with work. You're just going by yourself. I travel by myself. I love traveling by myself. Headphones in, just like, you know, walking around places and stuff like that. So that's kind of like a bucket list thing for me to kind of like visit as many countries as possible.
What's something you learned about yourself while you were traveling solo? Like I see some of these videos where you're just in your room, like writing
I'm,
and stuff like that.
I think I'm a very organized person, but I'm also someone that's quite good at being on their feet as well, like flexible. Like I'm kind of like, so I've realized that if I do like trips with my cousins and stuff like that, or like family, friends and stuff, we can have an itinerary, but I'm also someone who would like to have a loose itinerary in the sense that like there's always going to be things that are going to pop up, and I like to accommodate for that. So like in the morning I'll be like, leave the morning free, let's just go walking and like see what we can do there, and then in the evening we'll book something kind of thing. Like I like doing that instead of having like a strict regimen of this kind of thing. And I do that like when I travel by myself as well.
Speaking of the countries you visited to, something that kind of made my heart melt was you performing in Jaffna.
Dude,
that was their first time, isn't it?
Yeah.
Was it your first time visiting Jaffna?
No. So I've been twice before. So I like, when did I go last? I went, my sister did a Sabati video there. So this is like back in 2012. And then when my Amma passed away, we went like 7 years ago. So after that, this is the third time going. And yeah, like shout out to Santhosh Narayan and everyone, you know, like for inviting me to the show. But that was like a bucket list thing that I didn't even know I had on my bucket list. Right. You know that, well, like with them ones where you don't realize until it's done. Yo, this is something I've wanted to do. Like, yeah.
How was the feedback you got from like the artists there? I mean, artists and like also the audience too.
It's crazy because it was like 70,000 people, right? So it was like the arrangement of it was like very vertically long. So we couldn't see the end of where the crowd was because of the lights and stuff like that. But like, how do I say this? Like, in Europe, I know that people know my songs and stuff like that, right? But like in Jaffna in Sri Lanka, like you don't know what the reach is like because I've never like, you know, this is my first time going as an artist. Every other time I've gone before was like before the age of like 19. So I wasn't really like doing anything music-wise at all. So this is my first time going as an artist. But yo, like I'm standing on stage, performing like Amma, and I see like people in the standing section doing the Amma dance as well. God. Like that was like insane. And then my cousins like, you know, live in like Jaffna, they're sending me videos of the performance from like right at the back of the thing. That was like insane. And then like on the stage, Santhosh Narayan like shouted out me and Rati Adityan as like his favorite independent artist. So that was like a huge moment. And then we sang NKP together like as the last song. And dude, like we literally stopped singing and the chorus, like the crowd, 60,000 people are singing Nankudika Pora, and like it was like I don't even know, like there was like 15 minutes on stage just felt like a dream, you know? And then we came off and I was like, did that really just happen? Like I've had great stage moments, right? But that, because of like, I think it was two factors, the number of people and where it was as well. That's why it kind of like hit home. And I was like, yeah, like all of my mom has like what, 5 siblings in like in Ilenga, right? And like 3 of them came out to the show with their family and kids and stuff like that, and they were watching and they were like, I think they like, you know, called my mom out and they were like, yo, the man vandinga on the party, this, that, all of that stuff. So it was like an overwhelm of like emotions and stuff like that.
Is your mom finally nice to you?
Mom is finally nice. She's on board now. I think now she's given up to the point where she knows I'm not going to listen to her. I love you, Mum. But now she's on board with the game plan. Like she understands. Like now, before I used to feel very like hesitant to tell her my plans like for the year, like what songs I'm going to release and like the music videos. Now, like even like yesterday I called her and I was like, yo, listen, I'm going to talk to you for 2 minutes, just listen to what I'm going to say. And I told her, your next song is coming out this time, we're shooting a music video this time, then I'm going on tour these months and blah blah blah. And she's like, okay, cool, good luck, like all of that sort of stuff. So I think inside she is like, please da, but she's also like, you know, like she's started to realize that this is something that I was just going to do no matter what kind of thing.
That's so cute. But for me, it's like even coming back to like Jaffna, like thinking about it from their perspective, seeing someone of their own on stage, because obviously like the more people they see is from the South Indian industry, right? So seeing someone of their own like performing with an audience like this must have felt like...
Yeah, like I think it's like almost like a sense of like compatriotism kind of thing. I think that's the right word. But yeah, so like me and Rati, obviously like our roots are like from like, you know, Ilenga, Jaffna and stuff like that, right? So I don't know, I didn't get to speak to any of them personally like that, but like the comments and stuff like that, like it was very, like the next day TikTok was just flooded with these videos and stuff like that. And the crazy part is like, so from Jaffna, my family lives in Vavuniya, so me and my Chinna Mama, we call him Chinna Mama, he's basically my mom's older brother, he's the one that was like my tour guide for the thing. So he picked me up from Jaffna and we took a bus to Vavonia, which is like a 2-3 hour bus journey, right? It's actually longer, but on the bus journey, there were people that recognized me. So they're taking pictures with me on the bus, and he's like, anyone who knows Uridam Poilade, anyone car like a private bus. So I was like, yo, dad, like I didn't expect that as well, kind of thing. So yeah, so I think he was like very like taken aback as well, in a very positive way, but he was like, okay, yo, this is like kind of a big deal now.
That's so nice. Like I'm glad you went through that.
Yeah, I was really happy.
Because it's like a pat on your back for like all the moments of doubt that you have.
And it's like the way they approach you is like, there's fans, and then there's people who are like genuinely like inspired and stuff like that, right? And they're saying these like things where like sometimes I'm like, yo, I don't even make the music for those kind of reasons. I make it purely because I like making it, right? But you can see that the impact that something so simple like an Ilanga Tamilan making songs and like songs going on such a wide thing, it affects them more than kind of like even affects us kind of thing. They're like, yo, super part over and I'm like, over and kind of thing, you know, like
something nice.
Yeah. But no, it's so humbling, you know.
Well, that is a catchy song. There's a reason it's doing as well as it does. But is there any other stage or like another place that you want to perform on that you've seen? Like maybe you've gone to another artist like concert there.
So I think like Italy is kind of like a place that's been on my radar for a while. Purely because I know there's Tamil people there, but there's never anything that I've heard or seen come out of it. Like Italy kind of thing. So that's like on my, like this year I really want to do like a show in Italy, like somehow get it organized. And South Africa's on my list as well. Because I saw like Sid performed a show there as well. And for me it's like kind of like, let's bring Tamil independent music there, you know, kind of, because like cinema music's everywhere kind of thing. Wherever there's Tamil people, there's always going to be cinema music. But Tamil independent music, it's kind of one of those things you have to hand deliver to the people, introduce it to them, let them absorb it, and then bring it back on a regular cadence kind of thing. Like even like with Australia, myself and Rati Adityan, we performed end of 2022, and now like I'm sure there were like shows and stuff happening there beforehand, but now we see like more independent artists kind of blossoming out of Australia kind of thing. And it's nice to think that, you know, like us going there and performing there could have been a reason that kind of, you know, even started. So that's my kind of thing, like go to places where I know there are Tamil people and kind of like, you know, inspire something or like start a change, you know. It'd be great. That'd be great.
Okay, so speaking of concerts, independent artists, I have to get to a little bit of a controversial question.
Oh no.
There were recent incidents that I saw on social media about the way artists get treated at events. And as someone who's also part of many event organization teams, like I wanted to know how are some ways that we can start treating independent artists better at events in terms of prep? And also, like from your point of view, because you've been one of the opening acts before and you've also been the spotlight performer. So what difference in the treatment do you see and what can we avoid going forward?
I think there is obviously a heavy disparity. I don't even know if that's the right word, but I'm going to say it. It's like between how the main artist is treated and like they're like, you know, almost like put on a pedestal kind of thing. They're like, you know, royalty for that show. And then everyone else is kind of just like, you know, add-ons kind of thing. That's kind of how it's been treated, right? And I think it's important that, like, you know, if you're asking someone to come perform at a show, you know, whether they're getting paid or not getting paid, there are certain, you know, ethical ways that you should handle those things, right? And just like there's like basic things that need to be handled first of all, and then second of all, it's just like, you know, just like if certain things can't happen, there's a way to handle it, right? There's a way to think. But like every incident that we see nowadays on social media, it's always just like fundamental things are just being forgotten, that it cascades into, you know, a roll-on of other kind of events kind of thing. So, and I was speaking to my friends and stuff about this as well, like especially like there was like recently like dancers getting treated badly, you know, backstage, like performances getting cut short and stuff like that. Put it this way, timing is very sensitive when it comes to these shows and stuff like that, right? Like there's always going to be situations where like shows are going to overrun. I've never seen a show run on time, but there's always going to be a situation where like shows are going to overrun and stuff like that. But it's more of a sense where like, okay, cutting the music halfway through isn't really a great thing to be doing. You know, maybe if they had told them beforehand saying, yo, listen, we're like running out of time, or like, you know, because of time situation, we can only have you perform half the thing. That's maybe a different thing. That fine. If they had that conversation, I don't know. But then there's like cases where, you know, they will get the dancers, you know, to perform for free, saying it's like an opportunity for them kind of thing, and then make them sell tickets. And then that's when it comes to a bit of like an ethical kind of thing. It's like, yo, what you guys doing isn't actually right. You know, morally, it's really not correct kind of thing. And I think event organizers just need to be a bit more sensitive about that, because, at the end of the day, it's like, yes, this main art, but the main artist has had nothing to do with this in most cases. They're oblivious to it, right? They have no idea this stuff is going on. They're probably backstage preparing for their show and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, they're attached to the show as well. They're attached to all of these incidents, you know. Everyone's going to say the main art, this happened at this person's show, right? It's very rarely they're going to say the event organizers' names, right? So I think it's important that so the main artist also is very, diligent on these things and says, these artists have to be treated correctly. If, X, Y, if they're firm with it, then there will be change. But then for the most part, event organizers, most of these event organizers come for one show, make their money, and then they just disappear, So they don't really care about, people backlashing to some social media, because they're not going to do another event, right? So you have to think of it like that. And even like the dancers and stuff like that, most of those people are doing it because, yes, it is their first time. They're not going to get a stage like this kind of thing. But having like one person who manages it on their behalf, has like contracts in place, just like even just for safeguarding kind of thing, has these like legislative like procedures, it's always going to be beneficial for them. Like, and I think that's what, as an industry, we kind of have to start doing that change so that it becomes the norm, because like 5-6 years ago, people performing, with no payment and stuff like that, cool. That was at a time where the industry was going. But now, event organizers are relying on dancers to sell tickets. They're relying on pre-show artists to, get more tickets and stuff like that. Like when we're in that kind of situation, then we have some leverage. We have to play, to our advantage as well. And they will only take us as seriously as we take ourselves. So that's as soon as we start implementing contracts and things like that, that's when event organizers will be like, okay, these guys aren't to mess with, kind of thing.
But do you see the difference, like when you were like an opening act, for example, and then when you became like the spotlight artist, where you were like the main artist?
Sometimes I still do both. I'll be like headlining a show for myself, but then I'll be like opening a show for Yuvan, kind of thing. And like there's been bad experiences, there's been good experiences. So it really is a hit or miss kind of thing. Like I've had some where like, we're doing sound check during the interval of the show kind of thing. And I'm just like, it doesn't make any sense, But you just have to be diligent. You just have to be firm. Now it's just come to a point I'll be like, dude, if these things don't get like ticked off for me, I'm not coming to the show kind of thing. So it's like, like payments have to be on time. Contractually, we should, have a sound check kind of thing. And like everything's kind of agreed on paper. And when you, start implementing those rules yourself, people kind of jump on board kind of thing. It's really unfortunate though, because younger people, they don't have this knowledge yet, they don't have this experience as well. It's their first time, and they will learn. Sadly, you learn through these difficult experiences, but they will learn, and then eventually they will pass on those teachings to the next generation, so people don't go through this again and again.
But so for like, let's say an upcoming artist, like if they're getting a opening act on a show, what are some like tips and terms you would say? Like obviously contracts, but what else would you say would need to emphasize on? Obviously
contracts. Speak to other performing artists as well. Make sure everyone's kind of being treated equally and fairly, kind of thing. Not in terms of payment, but I'm just talking about other stuff like what are the terms, like performing set time, what time is sound check, is there a sound check? If there isn't a sound check, push for a sound check. It's a 5-minute, 10-minute job. Just those kind of things. Every artist is different. Every artist works differently. But there are certain, standards that if everyone starts following, then event organizers will start learning as well. Okay, this is the expectations, and we have to start following that kind of thing.
I don't want to scare artists now and be like, this is it for everyone. Like there are some good experiences, which I do want to share.
Some like opening, like some opportunities that I had, for being an opening artist have like changed my lives. Like there's been somewhere like in Malaysia when I went for the first time, I was a nobody, right? But MC Sahi took me on board as just someone, as part of his team, and I was like opening up for him. And like that trip single-handedly changed my life, I would say, kind of thing. So there are positive things. So I like. It's gonna sound, people might disagree, but like sometimes payment is good, yes, but some opportunities, like not getting paid, might still be just as good for you, kind of thing. And like because I've done gigs for free as well and stuff like that, I know that some gigs you have to accept purely because it's like gonna be a life-changing opportunity. But for that matter, don't just go along with any terms that they say. right? So yes, okay, you can be like, okay, cool, I'm not going to get paid, fine, but I need this done, I need this done, I need that done. I need a sound check, right? And I need a guarantee that I'm performing kind of thing. And like, if you can somehow get that, you know, like consolidated and get that done like properly, then that should suffice. And if not, then if they're going to be making you sell tickets and stuff like that, that's when you have to be like, yo, no, if there's monetary stuff involved, then you can be like, you know, I should be getting a cut of the ticket sales or something like that, right? But like taking a gig for free, if you know it's going to be a life-changing opportunity, I would always take the gig. Like some opportunities you just can't miss,
true.
you know?
I'm glad you mentioned that because I feel like especially the new generation, they're very like, I think they also are scared because they've heard our stories of like, oh yeah, we didn't get paid and we were like, you know, used or whatever. When now that they're more strict when it comes to money, they are missing out on gigs that could be valuable to them building their brand because of the fact that they're not getting compensated for their time.
But I guess there is a thing because event organizers, they're making a lot of money off these events as well. So when it comes to a point where they're not able to, you know, afford to pay for, that's when it becomes a red flag as well. Like you have to be sensible about it. There are certain cases where you just have to, you know, really just speak to someone who's a bit more experienced, get some advice off of them. Like if you're, you know, dancing for one of these shows and you're doing like 12 sets and you're not getting paid, then don't do that. Then you're just getting taken for, you know, a mug kind of thing. But there are certain situations where like, you know, if it's not going too much out of your way to do it, then you doing it for free isn't too much of a problem. But you just have to play it by hand. Speak to, you know, other people in the same boat as you and kind of come to a decision.
Was there an artist, like let's say an international artist or someone who sent you a message or like left a comment that for you was like, whoa, I made it, or like made you feel really good?
There's one, I've got a screenshot it and it's in my favorites. Like, and I'll always have it. It's when I released my Verdan album, Sid Sriram messaged me saying, bro, your album is so fire. Okay. And I was like, what? Like, I didn't even like ask him to listen to it or anything like that. But like, he just randomly messaged me saying, bro, this album is so fire kind of thing. And I remember screenshotting it, sending it to all my cousins. Because at that point, I was a massive fanboy kind of thing. Now, like, we're in communication and we speak here and there as well. But yeah, at the time, that was like a major moment for me. Like,
no, he's known to be someone that publicly like really promotes artists and supports them. So
I think he identifies as like an indie artist as well on some level as well. So yeah, that was like...
Was it you that posted that whole... No, I saw it somewhere where it said the difference between independent artist and an indie artist, and not every independent artist is like a non-film musician. Is there like a difference in the terminology? Because I'm always wanted to know that. I don't know.
I don't think I posted that. I think what people would say with independent artists is someone who does everything themselves without any support from like labels and stuff like that, right? That's what independent music is, right? I think indie, you know how you have like these labels that help with independent music. I think that's what people might think is like indie. I think that's where people are in the divide kind of thing. For me, it's like if you write your own songs and you perform your own songs and it's got nothing to do with cinema, then you're an independent artist. That was my definition of it for all of time, you know. But I feel like people always want to divide something, right? So that's just the world that we live in, right? You know, there's always going to be. You know, if you're not together, they will try and find a divide with something. Yeah. So just let them say what they want to say. As long as you have your own definitions and understanding, then you're fine.
Okay, so we do need to speak about your album that's coming out that I'm so excited
I have an album.
For. But I also need to say your song Unnale is just so beautiful. I have to give you extra appreciation for the lyrics because it's so easy to write like catchy phrases because you want it to go viral. But the fact that you put so much thought into like writing that song,
I would say it's the opposite. I think it's harder to write a catchy song because you have to, appease the general public. You have to be like, you have to know what works. This was a poem. It was just like, it was almost like one just straight flow. You're just writing like something that came from the heart kind of thing, right? But yeah, I do understand what you're trying to say.
No, I'm talking about it from a point of view of the pressure that you have when you release a song like that. Because like, I know like writing a song in general is hard and putting catchy phrases in is always hard because you always need to make sure that that connects with the audience.
With as much people as possible,
But a song like Unnale, putting that out and having that connect with people is hard too. Was there any backlash?
No, no. If anything, there was like very positive comments for it. Like my mom said this is her favorite song so far that I've released, because she's like, yo, the lyrics are so like different to what you normally do. Not in like a bad way, but she's like, in the part Tamil nalla irukku, meaning nalla irukku. My sister like sent me a 1-minute voice note like saying, I'm very proud of you that you released this song, because she's like, the Tamil is so like elegant and like it flows really nicely kind of thing. And I was like that's why on the album, this is my favorite song on the album, purely because it's something that like, I'm a very R&B kind of mellow, long night drives kind of person. So even songs like What About Amma, yeah, I can make them, but they're not songs that I would listen to myself personally kind of thing, right? It's like the Devade, the Unnale, like the Nidane, those kind of vibes are like my
just
kind of...
listed all of my favorites. Okay, go on.
But yeah, so far like people's response have been very positive, and I think people really, what I appreciate is that people appreciate that every song is different. Like every song has a different flavor. Like I go from doing like, you know, sad lover boy in Devade, I do like a very gentle mellow Irevilla Male with Manasi kind of thing, then I do like the whole cinematic kind of Amama kind of vibes, then I do the whole hip hop and then I bring like this R&B kind of thing. So people are just like, I can't wait for your next song. Like we have no idea what it's gonna be like, what it's gonna sound like. And I think that's kind of like what like something that I want to be a part of my identity as well. Like a very well-rounded, versatile artist. Like Sahi Siva is someone that can do multiple genres and do them well, not just like has like one strength kind of thing. He can do a lot.
So your album is called Unnale as well, right? So can you tell us a little bit about it?
Okay, so the album is coming out end of March. The date's set, but I want to do like a proper announcement for it. So it's coming out end of March. So the 5 music videos that have come out so far are part of the album, and there's a lot of songs. No, there's a lot of songs, and in addition to it, there's BGMs as well, which is like kind of like a new thing I've been like trying to do recently. So like for Devade, I released a BGM with it. For Irevilla Male, I released a BGM with it. Amma, I released a BGM with it, and there's like BGMs for the main songs, but not all the BGMs are in the same emotion. For example, like a sad song on the album might have a happy BGM, or a happy song on the album might have a sad BGM, which is kind of, I tried to just like, you know, see if I can do something about it, like something different. So that's that. The album's called Unnale purely because the album flows like a story, and it's a love album, but it's like different shades of love. And it's like, if you try imagining it, when you listen to the song in like the order that it's written in, it will flow as a story kind of thing. Like it will have a very evident start, there will be a very evident climax, and there will be a very evident ending as well, kind of thing. And it's kind of just like, you know, like imagine a person, you're dedicating this to them. This album is because of you, therefore Unnale.
I like that you said that. You mentioned love. Can we talk about Sahi's cinematic universe? Oh, because I don't see much love in there. I see
there's dark themes. It's a mafia theme. Yeah. So I've tried something new. I'm a big fan of Marvel, right? You know, everything to do like Marvel, Spider-Man, Infinity War, all of that stuff. So I'm a big fan of how like they do post-credit scenes, and like each movie kind of connects to the one or the other. So I was like, yo, why don't we try doing something like that with this music video? And honestly, it was just an idea that started. When I started it, I didn't know how I was going to end it. So when we did it first in Devade, we had like a scene where a girl is picking up a picture that was, you know, broken on the floor. And I just shot it and we released it. And I was like, okay, cool, Samu, now we need to come up with a story for this. And we've come up with a story, and I'm pretty certain it works, right? And it's just kind of, for me, it's just like it was like a pet project for me, but also people are now really engaged with it as well, where I'll be like out in public and people come up to me like, yo, dude, how's the story going to end? Like, we want to know. Wow. I'm like, this is like LCU, but like my version kind of thing. And yeah, so I figured out a way to kind of connect every music video and every kind of character in like, you know, the world that I've created with my music videos. And the next music video will be the final one, and there's like a culmination of all the efforts that we've, you know, put so far, and I hope people are entertained by it.
I really hope that people actually scroll through the
follow
end
it,
like got to see it, and if they haven't, like I really hope they do.
Because we'll probably do something like an explained, or like something like even just like a specific trailer or teaser, so that highlights that kind of thing, because it's always nice when people follow kind of, you know, efforts as well. Even if they don't, doesn't matter, as long as I understand it. That's good. No, I'm kidding. I hope people, you know, are inspired to try bigger scale projects, because this is one of those things where like every music video I've worked with someone new, but every director that I've worked with has like been on board of been on board with this concept, and they've been really excited by it, and like they're giving me their feedback, and I've kind of tried like incorporating it where like, yes, the music video will be directed by someone else, but this whole storyline is kind of written by me. So it's kind of nice to see how that comes together at the end. And I think the songs allow this story to be told as well nicely. And I think when you see the next music video, you'll understand why this song was kept till the end and why the songs were released in this order, and you'll understand what all the post-credits scenes mean as well.
No, I should give you credit for that, because it's so like, you know, you see people releasing albums on a daily basis now, but it's like to have that some like catch. Like
I think it's a forward
right?
thinking, right?
Yeah, it's really nice that you did that. So I'm really excited, but I do want to end off on a lighter note. If your life had a theme song, what would it be?
Of course. No, I'm kidding. No. If my life had a theme song, does it have to be like one of my songs, or does it have to be like anything? I don't know how. I don't know how applicable this is, but you know, Jesse's Land from Vinay Tandi Varuvaya. That is just like me romanticizing my life, right? Okay. So whenever I'm like traveling and stuff like that, I'll kind of just listen to that, because it's just like very mellow, very calm. And I might come across as a very lively, bubbly person, but like I'm a very like solo kind of person, like a lone kind of wolf kind of vibes, right? And I'm very just like content kind of thing. So
that's interesting. I really didn't think you were.
What did you think? What would you have said?
Like no.
That maybe old Sahi would have been. Old Sahi would have been like a soup boy vibe. Now current Sahi is very.
I don't know.
Chill.
I wouldn't say that would be like a soup boy vibe on its
just
own,
like
right?
crazy.
That's just like just life.
Life. Okay. Yeah.
Since you mentioned Trisha, I have to ask this: is there a dream collaboration you would like to have?
Oh my god! I would drop anything and everything. I would miss my sister's wedding if I had the opportunity to go see Trisha. No, I'm kidding. I would not do that. I would invite Trisha with. I would invite Trisha with me to my sister's wedding. See, now I can have both, right?
But okay, singer or artist, music producer, anyone? The dream collab that you're.
Dream collab. No, I think there are people that I want to work with. There's no one that's like a dream collab. Because I feel like everyone's interesting for me to work with. So there's no one person I would love to work with, kind of thing. But yeah.
As an artist, I have to ask you this: does AI scare you?
No, AI doesn't scare me. It's kind of like it's interesting to see what it can do. But I feel like I even like on the album, I made a lyric video using AI, which is pretty cool. And I was like, oh, this is pretty cool. There were obviously limitations with it, but like for the sake of it being cool and like something new, I'm going to keep it. But AI can replicate things very well, but it doesn't really have its kind of own soul to it. Yeah. You know, like it can write songs based on other songs and pick it up, but then it will never be able to come up with something 100% original kind of thing. And I think that's where being human and having a heart, we have the upper hand.
No, I'm glad you mentioned that, because like when you hear about all these conversations about AI, like it's always to scare you, especially when you're an artist and you see like all these songs being remade with artists, and it gives you a sense of fear, right? Especially as a singer.
Yeah. I don't know. I think some of these things I feel like are just like phases. Like it's like trends now. It'll be relevant now. It's always nice to hear SPB voices like created again in thing. But then it has to be done tastefully. You know, I think what A. Rahman mentioned, he's released a song with like the vocals, you know, using AI or something like that, right? Like in certain situations, you know, if you get the right permission of people and it's respectful, that's fine. But if you kind of want to be like an original artist and stuff like that, you can let AI help you, but the AI shouldn't be doing all the work, kind of thing.
So not depend on that.
Yeah, don't depend on it.
Always have the upper hand.
Always have the upper hand. Always control it. You know?
Yes.
Make it do what you tell it to do. Not it just comes up with something for you. You know.
Well, any final words about your album before we wrap up?
I hope you guys enjoy it. Please do like, share, and listen to it. I hope it kind of, you know, opens your eyes on how I've evolved as an artist from my first album, which was almost 5 years ago now. It's been a lot of growth since then, and hopefully more growing and more music. Yeah.
I'm really excited to hear your album, and I really have to say, like, thank you for coming on as my first guest again.
Worries. Good luck with this. You know, I can't wait to see you on the other podcasts as well. So.
I'm really proud of everything you're doing, and I'm gonna always keep supporting you. I can't wait to just keep seeing all the things that you're doing, and hope to see you again soon.
Cool. So, thank you. Bye.
Thank you for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this conversation. I'm not going to say the rest because you know what to do if you want to follow my podcast. Till next time.